At one point in time, 50 Cent and the Game were not just collaborators but also close allies in the music industry. Together, they created chart-topping hits and had the potential to dominate the rap game for years to come. However, what started as a promising partnership eventually turned into one of hip-hop's most infamous rivalries. Their relationship took a dramatic turn, igniting a bitter feud that resulted in diss tracks, physical altercations, and even violent shootouts. Today, we're diving deep into the tumultuous history between these two rap legends, breaking down every major event that led to their falling out. The story begins in 2003 when 50 Cent and the Game were first introduced to each other through the legendary producer Dr. Dre. By this time, Eminem had already discovered 50 Cent back in 2002 after hearing his mixtape Guess Who's Back. Impressed by 50's talent and street credibility, Eminem flew him out to Los Angeles, where he introduced him to Dr. Dre. Shortly after, 50 secured a lucrative $1 million record deal with Shady Records and Aftermath Entertainment, officially launching his career under the guidance of two of hip-hop's most powerful figures. Around that same period, Dr. Dre also came across the Game, another promising rapper from the West Coast, after hearing one of his early mixtapes. Recognizing his raw talent and potential, Dre signed the Game to Aftermath in 2003, hoping to mold him into the next big superstar. By then, 50 Cent and his group, G-Unit, had already established a massive buzz in the industry, thanks to their successful mixtape No Mercy, No Fear. Seeing an opportunity to maximize the Game's exposure, Dre devised a strategic plan to add him to G-Unit, believing that the group's popularity could help boost the Game's career. Additionally, incorporating a West Coast artist into G-Unit's lineup could expand their fanbase and make them an even more dominant force in the rap world. With this in mind, Dre began bringing the Game to the studio to collaborate with 50 Cent on what would become his debut album. At first, the arrangement appeared to be a perfect match on paper. However, what Dre didn't anticipate was that putting two of rap's most dominant and headstrong personalities in the same group would eventually lead to one of the most explosive conflicts in hip-hop history. In the beginning, everything seemed to be going smoothly. The Game even made an early appearance in the music video for 50 Cent's smash hit In Da Club. Years later, the Game's manager, Wack 100, made a controversial claim that the Game had actually ghostwritten some of 50 Cent's early hits, including What Up Gangsta. However, 50 vehemently denied these allegations and countered by saying that he had, in fact, written some of the Game's biggest tracks. With both sides refusing to back down, it remains unclear who truly wrote what, but at the time, there was a mutual effort in crafting hit records together. 50 Cent's debut album, Get Rich or Die Tryin', turned out to be a massive success, selling an astounding 872,000 copies in its first week. The album has since been certified 9 times platinum and is widely regarded as one of the greatest rap albums of all time. That same year, G-Unit also released their debut group album, Beg for Mercy, which was another commercial success. However, since the Game joined the group after the project had already been recorded, he did not appear on the album. Over the next few years, the Game worked to establish his presence within G-Unit, making frequent appearances in their music videos and collaborating on mixtapes while simultaneously crafting his own highly anticipated debut album, The Documentary. Both 50 Cent and Dre played instrumental roles in shaping the album's sound, and when it was finally released in 2005, it became an instant classic. 50 Cent was featured on 3 of the album's biggest singles, West Side Story, Hate It or Love It, and How We Do, which further solidified their chemistry. Despite not matching the first week's sales of Get Rich or Die Tryin', The Documentary was still a massive success, selling over 586,000 copies in its debut week. The album cemented the Game's status as the new face of West Coast hip-hop and was a major victory for Aftermath Entertainment. However, what no one could have predicted was that this would also be the Game's only project under the label. Before The Documentary had even hit the shelves, tensions between 50 Cent and the Game had already begun to surface. While it was undeniable that 50 had played a crucial role in helping the Game rise to stardom, he soon started to feel threatened by the prospect of another major artist within G-Unit. As the leader of the group, 50 Cent was used to being the undisputed star, but the Game knew his own worth and believed he had the potential to become a superstar in his own right. While their collaboration had initially produced great music, their egos eventually clashed to the point where coexistence became impossible. The real breaking point came during the recording process of The Documentary, when 50 Cent's sophomore album, The Massacre, had to be delayed to accommodate the Game's release. This scheduling conflict only added fuel to the fire, further intensifying the already growing tension between them, and from there, their relationship took a turn for the worse, leading to one of the most infamous beefs in hip-hop history. There were also discussions about placing Hate It or Love It on 50 Cent's album The Massacre, primarily because 50 not only wrote the hook but also crafted his own verse, essentially shaping most of the song. However, in the end, the track was included on the game's debut album, the documentary, instead. This decision didn't sit well with 50, who felt he had contributed significantly to the record and should have had more control over where it landed. The frustration over the situation only added to the growing tension between the two, and it wasn't long before their issues spilled into the public. One particularly telling moment was captured in the music video for Hate It or Love It. In the video, the game is seen driving a car while 50 Cent raps from the back seat. According to industry rumors, this scene was deliberately arranged because 50 refused to sit next to the game in the front seat, a subtle but significant sign that their relationship was already deteriorating behind the scenes. At the same time, 50 was also dealing with rising frustrations within his own camp. He had begun clashing with Dr. Dre and music executive Jimmy Iovine, feeling increasingly sidelined despite being one of the biggest artists in the game. 50 believed that he should have had full creative control over his music and the ability to release projects whenever he wanted, but label politics prevented him from doing so. What frustrated him even more was that he felt his own momentum was being sacrificed in favor of promoting the game. As tensions built up within the label, outside street politics further complicated the situation, ultimately pushing the relationship past the point of no return. And an interview with DJ Vlad, Tony Yayo, one of G-Unit's original members, claimed that the real catalyst for the beef between 50 Cent and the game was a man named Jimmy Henchman, whose real name is James Rosemond, was a former music executive and known drug trafficker. He is currently serving a life sentence for allegedly ordering a hit on G-Unit affiliate Lodi Mac Fletcher in 2009. Before his legal troubles, Henchman was a powerful figure in the hip-hop industry and ran Czar Entertainment, a management company that represented artists like Sean Kingston, Gucci Mane, and the game. The tension between G-Unit and Jimmy Henchman reportedly stemmed from their connection to another major industry executive, Chris Lighty. Lighty was a well-respected music manager and the founder of Violator Management, a company that worked with some of the biggest names in hip-hop, including 50 Cent, Nas, LL Cool J, and Diddy. According to Tony Yayo, Henchman was envious of Lighty's success and influence in the industry. While Henchman had strong street connections, he wanted to establish himself as a legitimate power player in the music business like Lighty. The rivalry between Henchman and Lighty soon escalated into a full-blown feud, and since 50 Cent and G-Unit remained loyal to Lighty, their allegiance put them at odds with Henchman. This, in turn, dragged the game into the conflict, further straining his relationship with G-Unit. At the same time, 50 Cent was already deeply engaged in his ongoing feud with Ja Rule. By then, the beef had extended to anyone who associated with Ja, including Fat Joe, Nas, and Jadakiss. When Fat Joe and Jadakiss appeared on Ja Rule's 2004 song New York, 50 took it as a sign of betrayal and responded by dissing them on his track Piggy Bank. Got 100 guns, 100 clips / why I don't hear no shots.
The truth was, as I grew up, I came up in my teenage years on Nas. So I couldn't beef with Nas. I didn't have no beef with Nas. And even though I usually get down with whatever's going on, I just wasn't down with beefing with niggas that shaped my career and made me want to rap. I couldn't do
that. Fat expletive thought Lean Back was into club / my expletive. Sold 11 mil, his expletive. Was a dud / Jada, don't expletive. With me if you want to eat / cause I'll do your ass like Jay did. Mob Deep. With multiple feuds brewing, both in the streets and in the music industry, 50 Cent's relationship with the game became collateral damage. What started as a musical brotherhood between two rising rap stars quickly spiraled into one of the most infamous and publicized beefs in hip-hop history. As 50 Cent continued to dominate the rap game, he became increasingly aggressive in his approach to industry politics. Anyone who aligned themselves with his rivals, particularly Ja Rule and Murder Incorporated, became a target. On Piggy Bank, one of his most infamous diss tracks, he took shots at several high-profile artists, including Fat Joe, Jadakiss, and Nas. He mocked Ja Rule's hit song New York, claiming that while people in New York might like their music, their reach didn't extend beyond the city, rapping, "Homie in New York, expletive. Like your vocal / but that's only New York, dog, your ass is local." Nas also found himself in 50's crosshairs, along with his then-wife, Khalees. Because Nas had maintained close ties with Murder Incorporated, 50 Cent saw him as an indirect enemy. In Piggy Bank, he took a jab at Khalees's hit song Milkshake, rapping, "Her milkshake brings all the boys to the yard / then Nas went and tattooed the expletive on his arm. At first, the game was fully on board with G-Unit's aggressive approach. He was loyal to the team and didn't hesitate to take shots at Ja Rule during their ongoing feud. However, as 50's list of enemies continued to grow, the game started to question his place in the conflict. Unlike 50, the game had deep respect for many of the artists being targeted. He had grown up listening to Nas, considered Fat Joe a legend, and admired Jadakiss's lyrical ability. To him, these were rap icons who had inspired his own career, so it didn't feel right to start dissing them just because 50 had a personal vendetta. Unlike Ja Rule, these rappers hadn't done anything to directly provoke the game, and he wasn't willing to turn against them just to follow G-Unit's agenda. This difference in perspective marked a turning point in the game's relationship with 50 Cent. What started as minor disagreements soon escalated into something much bigger, leading to one of the most notorious rap beefs of all time.